Enyo Kosai, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, means compensated dating, a Japanese practice in which older men will offer gifts or money to generally younger, more attractive women for companionship or sexual favors. Enku, as it's otherwise called, does not always involve sex, but is often the case. Studio Kara and director Hibiki Yoshizaki brought us Me, and now they bring us Girl. This team seems dead set on criticizing Japanese culture. While Me was about addiction to anime, otaku lifestyle, and possibly pornography, Girl focuses more on Enyo Kosai and on a more subtle level the portrayal of women in Japanese culture. But what I think you guys will be most interested in is my theory about who the girl in this video actually is and who the characters in Me actually are and how they're related to one another. Is this a sequel or a prequel to Me? And also, I think I have the answer to this. Let me explain. Hello everybody, welcome to YouTube Explained. My name is Vinny. This is YouTube Explained, the show that tries to make sense of YouTube. On this week's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Girl, if you hadn't figured that out yet. If you haven't seen these videos, then go ahead and watch them. Be sure to check the description down below for all of the sources to all the material I mention in this video, along with the original videos that you should go and watch. Also, I'm not an expert in Japanese culture, mythology. I'm going off of a ton of research that I've done to try and make up for that fact. So, be kind. Where do I even start this? This video is so complex. There is so many aspects to it. I suppose I'll just start at the beginning with the obvious vagina. Just calling it what it is. This video's main theme seems to be a sexual one, even more so than Me. Sure, there were more boobs in that one, but I think this one's core theme revolves more around sexuality than the last one. This video has tons of symbolism and references to stuff from Western culture, such as the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden, and also Japanese mythology. More on that later. The main character of this video is a lonely schoolgirl who just wants to be with somebody, who wants a meaningful relationship in the midst of her sexual awakening. And in desperation, and probably a lack of guidance too, ends up turning to compensated dating, but ends up being very unsatisfied with the whole thing. And as the title indicates, this is about a girl. By the name alone, I expected a positive portrayal of a woman, a strong female presence in order to criticize gender roles and inequality. It's not exactly the main focus of the video, although it kind of is related to the main topic, but I feel like there are a lot of feminist undertones in this video, just like there are in Me, with the mostly naked girls dancing in what look like digital prisons. Now, let's really get into this. I'm excited, guys. Explain! This very well-made video is about compensated dating and shows us a young schoolgirl lacking self-esteem as a victim of compensated dating. She is coming of age, she's discovering her body, she's discovering sexuality, which is a key moment in anyone's life. She's looking for a real relationship, she's looking to connect with her peers, but struggling to do so, she turns to compensated dating. We see a representation of what she really wants in her fantasy world. We see Prince Charming riding a unicorn. This fantasy world that our character finds herself in is symbolic of her attempts to fulfill her desire within compensated dating, but do not actually come to fruition. The world around her is a fantasy and short-lived, just like the relationships that she entertains. Now let's take a look at these lyrics. Everything I touch crumbles in this imaginary world. How many times have I rebuilt it? I've waited for so long that my body became skilled from the other side of the moon. So the symbolism of the first two verses is pretty straightforward. The world around her represents her sexual relationships with these men that are not satisfying her. They're not actually what she wants. Hence, they crumble and she tries to rebuild them. Now when she says that her body has become skilled, I can only imagine that this is due to her sexual experience that she now has at a young age from going out with all of these different men. But what about the moon? The other side of the moon, what does that mean? Well, What stuck out to me first of all in this video is that this girl is a god, pretty much. She's represented as bringing life to everything around her. She obviously manipulates the world and changes it at her will. At first I thought this was just feminist undertones. I thought this was the creator showing us a female character that was strong and that creates the world around her and that gives life. The lyrics even allude to a lonesome god. Tsukuyomi is the god of the moon and of the night in Japanese mythology and Shinto. Tsukuyomi originally lived in the heavens with his sister Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun and of the heavens. And they were also husband and wife, which apparently is cool when you're an ancient Japanese deity. So if humans made up these gods, what does that say about humans, if all these gods are just fucking each other? Anyway, everything was going fine until Tsukuyomi went to a banquet in his wife's name, which was hosted by the goddess of food, Ukemochi. In the interest of time, I'm going to be calling this goddess Mochi. Anyway, at this banquet, Mochi provided food by defecating and vomiting on the table. Now this disgusted Tsukuyomi, so he killed her. Amaterasu was so angry at Tsukuyomi that she vowed to never look at him again, and that if she ever saw him, she would run away. And that's why night and day are never together. So why am I telling you all this? Well, I believe that our characters are based on this story. Bear with me. Our main character in this video is based off of Amaterasu, the lonesome god. Lonesome because she broke up with her brother. She's up there alone in the heavens, and some of the lyrics even allude to the breakup, in my opinion, or at least they seem to. I beg for what I don't have, for the things that have been broken for who knows how long. Shu from Me, if you remember him, is based off of her brother slash husband Tsukuyomi. Amaterasu vowed to never look at him again, and that's what happens in this video at the very end. She sees Shu and Hana from Me and freaks out. She becomes angry, and then we see her later crying. We're going to be going into detail into that scene later, but for now, let's just concentrate on this. And remember in Me how that sexy monster puked in Shu's mouth? Well, that would make her Mochi, the goddess of food, who disgusted Tsukuyomi, aka Shu, by vomiting food for him. Mochi is the reason that Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu broke up. And if you remember back to my other video, I don't know if you've seen it, but the sexy monster represented addiction and pain, and that is what broke them up. So Hana from Me is Amaterasu before she broke up with her brother, and the girl in this video is Amaterasu after she broke up with her brother. When she does see her former self and her ex, I suppose, the lyrics accompanying that part of the video are I love you, and some of the final lyrics are the me in a dream. So the entire sequence down on Earth that we will be talking more about later, but that entire sequence is in fact a dream. It makes sense. We see her waking up afterwards. She talks about a dream, herself in a dream. So she's basically dreaming of her past self being with her brother. And why don't they look the same? I'm not saying this theory is 100% dead on. I'm just saying that it was inspired by Japanese mythology. And also, she's a god, so I suppose she could take any form she wants. And they do kind of look like each other. I have heard people equate these two characters to saying that they look alike, and when I thought of this theory, it kind of would make sense. And another hint that Hana is actually the girl in this video, her past self, that is that when she transforms all of these women down on Earth, they explode into flowers. And the flowers that they explode into really do look like the flowers that Hana wears in her hair. And they're pink, they're the same color. They just really reminded me of her. I mean, when we see this girl come down from the heavens like a god, it really is hard to negate this theory, at least from my point of view. And the vomit sequence from Me is just too weird and disgusting to be random. I believe that these characters are loosely based off of these gods and goddesses, and I believe the story does have similarities to the story in Japanese mythology. I'm not saying they're exact, I'm just saying that they are heavily inspired by, at least from where I'm standing. The idea behind these videos has always been to criticize Japanese culture. For example, they criticize anime, and what better way of doing that than using anime itself? So it's no surprise to me that they've taken elements from Shinto and Japanese mythology, that are so embedded in the culture that they are trying to criticize, or aspects of the culture, I suppose, they're trying to criticize. And before I wrap this up, there are a few other things we need to look at here. People down on Earth, without faces, all identical, using their phones. This to me is symbolic of the lack of identity that we all sometimes have, and the fact that we use technology too much, which kind of goes back to the meaning me had. But mostly, these people symbolize the two people that we're mainly talking about here. The young teenage girls, the young girls that are being manipulated, and the older kind of businessmen sort of genre of person. These are the only two character models that we see down on Earth. Young, attractive girl, not old man, but sort of older man. Businessy man. Business. These are the girls that fall prey to compensated dating, and these are typically the men that exploit these girls. In this scene, the women are transformed into flowers with an apple coming out of it, symbolizing the forbidden fruit of the Garden of Eden. Whilst the men appear to be ugly under their skin, lacking a heart where their heart should be, falling apart, disintegrating. Now tell me there aren't any feminist undertones to this video. Then they all form one big tree that kind of reminds me of that scene from the Avatar movie. I interpret this whole scene pretty much as women freeing themselves from this epidemic, from compensated dating. So to conclude on this sequence, she sees her past self and she wakes up and she's back up in the heavens. In her current situation, being involved in compensated dating, that is, she's dreaming of a better life. There's also her sidekick, the blind cat thing, which could just be typical anime sidekick, but I think it also might represent her blindness and her inability to see the dangers and the moral issues that are involved with compensated dating. Also, there are probably a lot of anime references that I'm not getting, that all of you are screaming at me about right now. I'm sorry. And there's also the humanoid blob thing that she makes that disintegrates, that is yet just another reference to her shitty relations with these creepy ass men. In the end, she wakes up from her dream and we see a figure loom over her that looks remarkably like the Prince Charming that we saw earlier, but no way to confirm. But she smiles, so this is just a happy ending, leading us to believe that she got what she wanted in the end. It's a sad thing, really, that older men like this would take advantage of young teenagers in their very important moment in their life, discovering their bodies, discovering who they are. It's sad, but it doesn't really surprise me, which is also sad. So to wrap things up, this would make Girl a sequel to Me, guys, so you can stop asking. Unless that isn't her past self, that's her dream self, in which case Me would be a dream. I'm done. All in all, I love these videos and I'm really looking forward to what they're doing next. I'm pretty confident in what I've just said, but obviously it's subjective, so leave your comments down below. You're gonna have a different opinion maybe, especially those of you who are very into anime and all that. But I feel like I don't need to have an extensive library of anime in the back of my head. I feel like I can pretty much interpret this however I want, because it's a piece of art, guys. And there are probably some references I'm not getting, but that's not what this is about. It's not about references, it's about what this actually means and what the creators intended. Or is it? No, it's more about what you want it to be. Okay, my name is Vinny, and thanks for watching. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Guys, if you want to support my channel, and this is the biggest thing you can do, is to go to my Patreon page for super support. For those of you who have a few bucks lying around and you don't know what to do with them, I'll gladly take them. There are benefits, such as getting the show early and getting exclusive info before everyone else, such as scripts and just info about the next episodes and secret projects and stuff like that. So yeah, all cool stuff over there. But you know what? You really don't need to. Just do you, guys. Just watch the videos, share them around. That's an amazing thing you guys can do. Share them around. Help me make this my job and make the channel better and all that stuff. And just like, subscribe. Subscribe for upcoming videos if you're new here. See guys, I'm leaving all my shameless self-promotion to the end of videos now. I do listen to you. Anyway, love you guys.